at this point, this is a justification for the introduction of using Nietzsche, Hegel, Karl Marx, Heidegger, or any. In other words, it'd be perfectly interesting and get the best word for this. I guess the only one I can use is indoctrination. It's giving, it is agreeing, if society agrees to it and allows this to go on, gives the right to a class of philosophers to indoctrinate people into their particular philosophy. It would be very successful, it would be very interesting during the Nazi era, communist era, and nihilism, I imagine if someone was into Nikaya for Bukharin, those people, they could also express a need for the patient to understand nihilism, anarchism, and other things. Yeah, that's right.
One of the similarities that I saw in reading several of these philosophical counselors' works is that they all, or some, I'll say at least, approach the problem that the person comes in with to the point, it's similar to the point where they like to get the person into what they call an empty state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
well, ideally that's what they want, because if you see, that's the same as the introduction of a pathologos or a problem or a belief. You wait until the person is open and receptive, and then you introduce the teaching.
And that's when the indoctrination can take place.
That's when indoctrination takes place.
Whereas with your system of philosophical midwifery, that's where the work begins.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem. For them, that's the solution. For us, that's the problem. That's right. Quite right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
There's a little bit of a flaw. There's a little bit of a flaw here. And the reason I see the flaws in some of my own work is I've had some events and beliefs that I've popped out of my queue, and basically by doing it through therapy. And when the images came out, the images were approached by rational approach.
Mm-hmm.
These images pop out,
mm-hmm.
at least for me. Some of the other people I still had images pop out. Most of these images had a tremendous amount of emotion and feeling associated with them, and also a lot of pain.
Oh, definitely.
And so to say that, I have a little bit of a problem with the idea that it's pure mind. It's not. There's mind, and there's also the dealing with the emotions and everything that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Then once even you're aware of those images, which are your
mm-hmm.
false beliefs, it's a whole other thing to take and then try and program your brainware, your software up there. And it's no easy deal to put a new program in there.
Intense feelings are intimately connected with unknown and undisclosed beliefs, which is why people often recognize that when you get someone, even yourself, angry enough, you might stumble upon the truth. And once you do it in anger, you're then released. Yes, feelings are intimately connected with the formation of beliefs. Remember, we're talking about beliefs of a special kind, and that is unspoken, unarticulated beliefs are core beliefs, and around those are great feelings because of a very important reason. You see, the inculcation of a belief, the early years, you sacrificed a better state for a worse. There's something, the most wonderful thing about the human mind, the most wonderful thing about being human, is that the only reason you have a problem when you have a problem is because you want something better than what you're in.
I understand that assumption, and where I'm coming from is it sounds like, people who are doing psychotherapy are all saying, well, it's not rational, it's emotional.
Mm-hmm.
You're here saying, well, it's not an emotional methodology, you need to do the rational understanding. It sounds to me like it's that problem, the opposite sides of the same coin.
Yeah, well, perhaps, but just to make sure. You see, I'm saying an unspoken belief. See, what's interesting is that from these scenes, they are always puzzles. There are always things that are puzzling. The individual walks away from it. They don't believe what is being said, Many of these early scenes, there might not even be anything said directly. It's something we infer, something we conclude about from those scenes. You can't blame it on them.
So would you say no puzzles, no beliefs, pure state?
Yes, yes, yes. And since it's unarticulated, you have to allow the person to discover what it is they believe, which they never occurred to them that they believe. But it's interesting, it's something they themselves came to, therefore it's not a blame game. You can't blame it on them. You walked away with a conclusion. You carried the puzzle. You wondered about why they were doing what they're doing. It didn't make any sense for them to do what they did. You have to walk away and say, oh, wow, you have to justify it. It's that justification that's the problem. And there, oh.
The justification that causes the feelings? Is that?
Yes, this is in essence, you see, in psychology the problem is anxiety. In philosophical midwifery, it's anger. We are all angry. We're angry at the fact that we sacrificed so much of ourselves for something that was less. To get in touch with that feeling, is essential. But it isn't enough just to let it go as a cathartic experience. If catharsis was enough, the Catholic Church would have had the answer long ago with confessions. I mean, psychotherapy and psychology only emerged because of the inadequacy of the cathartic method. It's not enough just to release feelings. You have to get behind them and find out where those feelings came from and what motivated them. And that's curious.
Would the ideal state then be a state of absolutely no feelings?
Oh no, these are feelings that are tied and connected with something you don't know. This is ignorance. This is the nature of ignorance. This is ignorance. See, this is formally ignorance. When you have feelings about something you don't know, but you believe something is true that you can't articulate, this is ignorance. Without it, what do you got? Why, then you can believe what you want, feel what you want, as long as you know that you're believing it and feel that you're feeling it. Ain't no problem with feelings.
And that there are other ways.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, decidedly. And that you have the opportunity to make those judgments, and presumably for the best reasons you can come up with, and test them later. Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think I anticipated where you're going. I shouldn't.
I'm not sure if the question you have was answered, and I'll tell you reason why. Because it seems as if he was characterizing your system as purely intellectual and achieving its impact in its methodology through intellectual means only. And it seemed to me that you were characterizing the other system as being psychological and as being emotional in its using its methodology on feelings. And he was seeing it as a split. And although I heard you say that when you uncover certain deep beliefs, they have an emotional content, I wasn't sure if that answered the question.
Yeah, let me see if I can do it another way, all right? No, whether you did or not, we can continue.
Perfectly where I was going.
Yeah.
I was asking him to resolve a dichotomy.
Yeah, I don't think there is one. That's why I thought that the issue should be
There is, but there
raised
shouldn't be.
again.
There is, but there shouldn't be.
I don't think he's going to...
It's rational. It's rational because you are approaching it with a series of questions that have a formal integrity and interconnection. Formally. They all fit together. Right? It's dialectical because these formal questions can be used again and again and again, regardless of the person. They're guided by a formal set of questions. Any formal set of questions that are exploring to a conclusion is a dialectic. It's rational because it all fits together within a rational system. That doesn't mean, however, they're not dealing with feelings. What it means is that you can explore a person's state of mind with all of their feelings to see whether they can come to grips with the feelings they have and what generated it.